again. This is our third fireside chat between Joan Henry and I, and today we have a special guest, none other than Rosette Royale.
Hi.
The spirit keeper for some 13 years of the Wolf Creek Naraya. And this is the 21st anniversary of the Wolf Creek Naraya in Oregon. And like I've told you before in these chats, each dance is going to envision the way that it is going to happen, the way it's all going to come down. So I look forward to hearing from Rosette and hearing how this is all going to occur. And Joni and I will be jumping in with questions or comments. And so I'd like to introduce Rosette Royale.
Hello. Hi, everybody. How are you? It's nice to be with you here right now. And yeah, we're going to talk about our dance this year at Wolf Creek, or as I like to say, at Wolf Creek or wherever you may be, because we are going to be dancing from afar. And I know that's a big change for us at Wolf Creek. You know, last year we had around 180 people. So we're used to having a lot of people together. But we all know now that this year we can't meet in that way, but we can still, I know and feel in my bones and in my body, we can still have a great ceremony and a powerful ceremony. Even though we're all not there on the land together, we can still feel our circle join together in prayer for this ceremony that's coming up. So we at Wolf Creek usually have a ceremony that starts on a Wednesday when we first gather, and then we go all the way through a Sunday. So we're not going to do exactly that for this virtual dance there at Wolf Creek this year. We're going to really have one ceremonial day. That's going to be on Saturday, June 13th from noon to 4 p.m. That's the time when we will be sitting in ceremony. That's the time when our bundle keeper, Jeff Westfall, will be working with the bundle, doing all that he does. That will be the time when I will be with the buffalo skull, praying for us, praying for all of you, praying for the land, for the tree, for our country, for all of this great multitude in which we exist. That's where I'll be. At that point, you will be wherever you are, wherever that is, where you happen to have your feet at that moment. That's where you'll be. That's where you'll be praying. And you can pray and pray and pray just like you prayed at the Naraya. I think we all remember what it's like to be with that great, glorious tree and to be sitting there with the tree, and we can hear everyone around us. They're moving, they're singing, and you are focused on the tree. You are praying. And so that is your opportunity to do that. So I created a call for this ceremony, and one of the things I did was at the end of the call, I put a picture of the tree, the big, beautiful being that shelters us during our dance on the land. And so you can use this picture to help yourself focus on the tree during the ceremony. So again, the ceremony, as it were, is Saturday, June 13th from noon to 4. But as I said earlier, we usually go from Wednesday to Sunday on the land. So I thought it might be nice to give us, the dancers, a way to tap into the ceremony each day. Nothing big, but just something for you to do. So Wednesday, June 10th at 6 p.m., the specific time, these times I'm talking about here, you will have the opportunity to see videos, people from our dance talking about how the dance works, parts of the dance. We're going to have videos on the bundle, talking about the pipe, talking about the buffalo skull and the power of circles, talking about spirit feasts, and we're talking about fire. And we're reaching out to some more people to gather as many videos as we can for this time. So these videos will be made available to everyone. In the call letter, there is a link. The link is on page 4. And you can follow this link, and it's a spreadsheet. And you will see the links listed there with the subject about the link and who will be speaking about a topic. Those will be available Wednesday, June 10th, 6 p.m. And then they'll be there. These links are for us, for our dancers, not just Wolf Creek dancers, but for all dancers of the Dance for All People. All people. The link is for all of the dancers there. So these links will be made available that Wednesday, and they'll be available for you throughout the weekend to see, right? We'll also have a link that goes back to the Dancing from Afar page from the NCPC, so that you also be able to use that information and access it and just remind yourself of things to think about over the course of the weekend. So that's Wednesday.
So what happens on Thursday?
One of the things that happens on Thursday is that we are starting our ceremony there. And, you know, that's when we're dealing with time, right? Sort of the mundane time and spirit time. And so one of the things we like to do, but doesn't always happen, is if we have time, we have people speak their intentions aloud. They speak them to the tree. So depending upon how many people are there, this can take 30, 40, 50, 60 minutes to do, right? It can take some time. So we wanted to make that available to people to be able to speak their intentions. So that's one of the things we're asking folks is for this dance is to set an intention. What are you dancing for? Why are you dancing? And once you have that intention in hand, on Thursday at noon Pacific time, on that same, you follow the same link that takes you to the videos, the spreadsheet. On the bottom of that spreadsheet, there'll be a tab that says intention sheet. If you click that tab, there will be a spreadsheet that comes up and you can enter your intention and your name. So even though we can't necessarily hear everyone's intentions on the land, we can still hear their intentions by reading them on the sheet. And then we will leave that sheet up throughout the weekend, and we're working now to have someone on the land read those intentions to the tree on Saturday.
So someone is going to actually be there to do that intention reading.
Yes, the land is closed to visitors, so we ask people not to show up. But we are talking to people on the land about having someone help us do these parts.
And then what's going to happen on Friday, Rosette?
Friday. Well, an important part of the dance is setting up our altars. You know, we've been there. It's beautiful work to see the altar come together. The scribe pit, everyone getting the fire ready, putting the stake in, setting the buffalo skull, the pipes, all that is great medicine, great magic that happens there. And so we're on Friday, we're asking people to create a small altar for this dance, just to help them prepare, to get ready for the ceremony that's about to happen. I mean, that's another thing about setting the altar is that you're telling the spirits, we are here, we are gathering for this work. We are asking you to come help us do this work, help us with our prayers. And so by you at home setting up an altar, you're doing the same. You're letting everyone know your intention about what you will soon be doing. So you can set up an altar. It does not have to be a huge, magnificent altar. Mm-hmm. A simple altar will work. Candle, a bowl of water, if you have maybe you have a cigarette from a past Naraya, or you have a pinch of tobacco, and set it on a cloth. It can be that simple. That will help you to prepare for the dance. And you may already have an altar, and if so, then this is a great day to just spruce it up, clean it up, set some intention, clear it off, and get ready for the next day on the ceremony. So that's Friday.
So it's a really good idea that for folks who have altars to set up a portion of that altar specifically dedicated to what they're about to do with it, so that they begin to set a line of communication the same way that they've set a line of communication with the tree the day they speak their intentions. Would that be a fair understanding?
Beautiful way to connect.
Yes. So moving on to Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So Saturday is our day for, well, every day is our day for prayer. But Saturday is our day of intentional prayer for the ceremony. You know, on the land, when we have ceremony, there are opportunities for us to go and be with the tree, to be in the circle and to pray. Some people like to show up in the morning and pray. Some people like to have their lunch and sit in the circle and pray. So this is the time where, even though you might be alone, you can still pray, knowing that you're held by the prayers of other people as well. So this will be the time when we'll be praying. You know, it's 4 hours, which, I mean, there we go. With mundane time, that can seem like a long time, but Spirit moves in a different way. So I believe we'll be praying, and we may find that those 4 hours just
Fly by.
us.
Mm-hmm. So there will be songs sung.
There will be songs sung. And we've had a lot of discussion about songs. You know, when we're on the land, we tell people that these songs are not our songs. These songs are gifts to us, and they're for part of the ceremony, and we can only sing them with the ceremony. So we're asking people at home not to sing these songs. The dance leaders have permission to sing 4 songs. So we'll be singing 4 songs on everyone's behalf during the course of those 4 hours on Saturday. But otherwise, we're asking people not to sing a song.
Clyde, do you want to talk about what is possible for people? You usually remember that before I do.
Well, as Rosette said, the dance leaders, the Battle of Cape Burnett, will be singing some of the Naraya songs. But what we've said in the past conversations is sing songs that resonate with you. Sing songs that resonate with your soul. Sing songs that resonate with your spirit. And sometimes songs will just come out of the blue. It'll just be the time for them to be sung. We Native folks look at songs once they come out and they're in the world as living entities, that they go out and do things and change things. Songs that are important are songs that resonate in your heart and in your soul.
When I was growing up and I was raised as a song carrier, the way it was spoken to me is that the songs come to you because you need them at the time, and because they need you to sing them. They need them to be sung. And that's why you have to trust when somebody says, please sing a song for me, that the song that comes up is the song you're supposed to sing. Even if it's, my favorite is Clyde's example of Row, Row, Row Your Boat, which actually isn't that far from the Haudenosaunee Canoe song, to be honest. And these songs, even the simplest of songs, seemingly simplest of songs, they have a medicine, they have a way of setting you in a clear place, in a soothing place, because the Spirit knows us and who we are. So you have to trust that, really trust it. That the song that comes to you to sing, that it's okay, not just okay to sing, but that's the Spirit talking to you in that way. Trust that, and trust your preparation. We say these things because the physics of it is that this is how we keep everybody safe, and how you're able to get the messages and the medicine from Spirit that you need, each and every one, in a way that is best for us.
Now, Rosette, what is happening on Sunday? Because usually the dance lasts, from Thursday to Sunday. So what do you have planned on Sunday?
Sunday is our day, your day, to prepare your feast at home. So maybe you have the ability, access to be able to get these 4 items: water, the corn, buffalo berries. And you can prepare those at home with yourself with good intention. You can pray over this food while you're cooking. I mean, it's always good to pray and have beautiful thoughts when you cook, because that energy that you put into your food goes out into all those who eat it, and then it can go out into the world. So you can prepare these items and pray over them. Maybe your ancestors loved potato latkes, or, maybe they loved spanakopita. Maybe there's a dish that your ancestors, your family love to eat. And so you can prepare that and think about your ancestors while you're cooking that food. And then you can eat that food and thank your ancestors for helping to bring you into this world, into this life. Thank them, thank them, thank them, thank them. And then you eat big, right? And maybe your life is so busy now that you can't go out and get those foods, but you're home and you're having a bologna sandwich, right? You can still offer part of your bologna sandwich. I think we've seen people prepare spirit plates, and we offer these up for meals. You can do the same. Prepare a spirit plate and then put your little bit of food on that plate to represent all the items you'll be eating during that feast. Offer it up, set it down, and then you eat big and you give great big thanks. So that's what's going to be happening on Sunday.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. The food that you were talking about, I'm glad you covered it, because not everybody has access to buffalo meat, for instance. I know at the last one at the Utah, I didn't have time to prepare any of these things because I was rather late. So I just grabbed some chili beans, and that was my spirit feast. And it worked well.
Yeah.
So again, don't let that deter you.
It's all about intent. It's all about staying connected. The fact that you have a connection for people each day, it would be beautiful to see people attempt to hold on to that like pearls on a strand, so that every day your intentions add up and collect until it's this beautiful necklace. This beautiful necklace that's the teachings that have made you think about the different elements of the dance, and maybe it makes you think about your relationship to them, and the speaking of your intention to the tree, so that you focus in on, what am I really here for? What am I really praying for? Because that avenue is open. The tree knows we're coming. The tree looks for us, and the spirits around the tree, they look for us every year at that time, because that's why they're there. That's how that tree come to be there. And so turning our attention to that is a palpable thing for the tree. It's something that the tree can really feel, and that opens a really palpable thread between you and the tree, the spirit of the tree, and the spirit that moves through all things. So that each of those, there's another pearl on that strand. Creating or sprucing up your altar, that's kind of like setting the table, eh? You have a very fine guest coming. That's really what we do. That's why Clyde always refers to it like baking a scratch cake. We're making a great dessert for the spirits by creating this beautiful altar.
One other thing too is, on your altar, we always put up ancestors on the thing too. So if you have a favorite ancestor that you have a photograph of, put that as part of your altar, so that they can be there with you too. Or maybe not just one, maybe you have a whole bunch, and it depends on your space. And one thing that we were going to talk about, Joni, was, of course, setting the space. Okay, people are going to be creating these altars, how simple or elaborate as they may be, and if you have an altar, doing kind of like a spring cleaning of that altar. And but that's the beginning, because like I said, we're making a scratch cake. And part of that, the basic essential of making that scratch cake is, of course, setting things in place, casting the circle when you're actually doing your pipe ceremony or whatever it is you're going to do on Saturday. It's always good to have that in a contained sacred space. So if you would elaborate on that, Joni, that would be most wonderful at this point.
We have a beautiful container for the things that are in the order that we do things, in the form of the Dancing from Afar page that you can refer to help you remember these things. However, I like to talk about the circle because, above all, I want people to be safe so they can receive in the best possible way and take that away with them in the best possible way. So it's really important that you start by setting yourself a safe circle. You've set a safe, we've talked about the different, you see us do that at the beginning of a dance when the circle is sealed. And you see that when people go in and out of the circle, that they smoke themselves down, they brush themselves off with sage or cedar. Sage and cedar are both medicines for clearing things, but they work differently. And sage's real strength is get it out of there, create a barrier, that's it. Clean it up, move it out, moves out all those things that are negative and create a clear space for that. And that cedar, on the other hand, is like this. Cedar works in both directions, both clearing the space and drawing in only what is good. So that it is both clearing and invitational, not in a random way at all, but in a way that only permits, like a very fine sand, only permitting what is strong, what is good for you, what is safe for you. If you have a little bit of cedar, maybe from a previous dance, or maybe there's a cedar tree on your street that you can sort of quietly harvest a couple of fronds from. That's, leave a little something for the tree in a good way. That's an agreement between you and the cedar. My grandma always taught me, when you need something and you ask for it from the spirit, then you need to open your eyes because it'll be there.
Yes, if you call out for it, it will be provided for.
Yeah.
That's the way.
That's the way of it. I've seen some really heavy examples of that in where things grew where they really weren't supposed to grow, but they showed up because you needed them. So again, this is about your trust, your intention, and your commitment to those things. Your commitment, when you step in, when you set that safe circle, you can set it with cedar in a circle. You can set it with cornmeal in a circle. You can set it with tobacco or sage in a circle. You can use any of those, but what you're really doing, we use a variety of those things in the way that we work, but what you're really doing is setting, there's a phrase for this, a ring pass not. You're setting an area in which you have only good things for yourself, and you are free to be listening without concern because that safety is wrapped around you. So use that cedar, use that cornmeal, use the sage, and then brush yourself off. If it were me, I'd be brushing myself off a bunch of times in the course of the ceremony, because Clyde has always told people you can't do that too often. It's like layers. It's just like layers.
One of the things that you forgot to mention, Joni, is the old one that's just worldwide, of casting the circle. So you don't have any cedar, maybe you don't have any sage, but you probably have salt.
Salt, I know.
Salt, is salt water, or even just grains of salt. That's an old one that's worldwide, including with Native American people.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one too. So like what Joni was saying, if you look for something, it'll be there. If you need it, it will be there in some way or form. So it doesn't necessarily have to fit the criteria that we use at the dance. It just has to do the job. Mm-hmm. And that's what you need to do. Now let's talk about the sweetgrass for a little bit. Now, how do people use sweetgrass? Like you were saying, it's really not good for clearing.
Yeah.
Don't try to banish anything with that or do anything that make it stronger.
What a mess. And we've seen that.
Yeah.
What we were talking about with the sage and the cedar, with intention, When you light that sweet grass, how are you preparing yourself? What are you asking for support with? What are you asking to come and be with you? What there's a purpose to everything we do, and I feel very strongly that we are being called in this time to do nothing without purposeful intent.
Yes.
That the time for doing things and seeing if they work, or casually, or recklessly, or even just thoughtlessly, that time is past. That everything we do has repercussions. And so we want to create the clearest trail for ourselves in both directions by taking every action with purposeful intent.
I love hearing about this intention, about setting the intention. I think that, we have dancers create intentions, so, they get to think and pray about that before they show up. And I think it's easy to, I don't know, maybe it is easy to believe that when you get to the land and the ceremony is happening, that everything just seems to go. I mean, it's just, oh, look, it all works. But there's so much intention from so many people before we get there that helps us when we get there. Right? That's how it starts to work, is that we're all praying well long before we arrive. The same thing can happen for us here, dancing from afar, that you can be putting your intention there before things start. Before we get to the official time, you are putting your intentions into this space there, so that when you get there, the space welcomes you, is so happy to see you. It's like the tree is so happy to see us, because the tree knows that we're coming, because we have been communicating and talking and praying with the tree before we arrive. And I feel like this is just another way for us to do it.
Wonderful, Rosette.
We're encouraging all dancers to have a dance buddy. On the land, we do it for new dancers, but here we're dancing from afar. So we just encourage you to connect with at least one other person at the dance who will be dancing from afar as well, so that you can have some communication. You can share your all the things that are going on for you. You can connect. Your connection will be stronger to the tree and to each other if you have someone who's supporting you before we get there. Again, this is about this intention. So you have this dance buddy. This dance buddy you can connect with before the official Saturday ceremony, and then also connect up with them afterwards, right? To sort of complete this connection that you have, that you're both there supporting each other. So that's one other thing you can do and help setting yourself up to help keep yourself safe. Also on Saturday, we're going to have some medicine workers who are available for you to reach out to. Here was Joni talking about reaching out to people, reaching out to elders if you need something. Well, during the dance, we have 3 people who are listed in the call. They're going to make themselves available to you. But also, if you feel like maybe it's Sunday after the Spirit Feast and you feel like you are just so full of emotion and you really just need someone just to connect with, then I encourage you to reach out. Reach out to some of those people. Reach out to me. Reach out to your dance buddy. Reach out. That's what our circle is for. It's to hold and help each other. So you don't have to isolate yourself. I know that we're hearing this word, self-isolation, but in this circle, this dance from afar, this ceremony, it's not about isolation. It's about joining together.
Well, Rosette, that's perfect. And it leads us right to your last piece, which is not right away, but actually very intentionally a week later.
When you're at the dance and Sunday happens and we all sing Happy Trails, still the energy is there and we're all feeling it and we're all just so loving. And then we all start to go home and we start to take, and the energy starts to dissipate. And then I know for myself that sometimes when I get home, it's maybe not even until like a week or so later that I suddenly realize, oh, right. All this medicine, these things that I've been praying for, my intentions are suddenly starting to become apparent to me. right? Sometimes
Yes.
it takes a little time for it to settle in with you. You know, it's like when you make that scratch cake, you don't want to rush it because you cake will come out and it'll fall. And so, you know, this is the same thing. You want your cake to come out nice and spongy, and you want your dance to settle into you, into your bones and experience. So, 2 weeks after our dance, we're going to have a Zoom get together. You know, I call it a chit chat. There's all kinds of terms for it, but it's a way for us to hear from some of the people, some of our dance leaders about what it was to put this ceremony on. And so you'll be able to join with other people in small circles and share your experience with each other about what the dance was, how it settled in you now after 2 weeks, what it feels like, how it may have changed over that time, and the things that you are sensing and feeling, and what you prayed for and how you're seeing it materialize now.
What was that? That's such a wonderful tapestry that you've woven, or scratch cake that you've laid out for us for what's going to happen with Wolf Creek. Now, Wolf Creek is very dear to all of us, and there's no any kind of gatherings or anything that's happening there because of the COVID. But how are they doing, and what can we do to help them?
Aren't we their largest contributor? Our gathering, isn't that a significant portion of how they take care of them? And
Yeah, but dance at Wolf Creek has contributed to the land, the people there every year. You know, it's part of our commitment. It's like, you know, they're part of our family, right? And so we want to care for our family. And the tree is there, and they help to care for the tree in all the days and weeks that we're not there. So it's just a little way to offer something back to them for all that they've given to us. And so every year, with registration costs for the dance, we give money to Wolf Creek. And, you know, we're a big gathering. It brings in a big chunk of change for them, you know. And to have now the gatherings have to be canceled means the big source of income for them has been cut off. It's dried up. And so I want to make sure we can keep that tap flowing for them. So I am going to suggest that if you have the ability, think about making a donation to the land. You know, the organization is Nomenus. That's NOMENUS.org. You go to that website, you'll be able to find a place where you can have a tab where you can donate, and then you can donate money directly to Nomenus and to Wolf Creek. So again, you know, the dance feeds us, and so I just want to make sure that we help to feed the people who take care of us in our ceremony there.
So, like you said, we must maintain it. We make sure that it goes in this year of difficulties, you know, that it continues on, so we can once again, perhaps next year, gather there once again for our dance.
Mhm.
And I'd like to thank you for your time today, and for you people listening in too. Take what we have discussed today, the heart, to your heart. And I look forward to seeing you around the tree in an ethereal form, perhaps, singing the wonderful songs and being there with you all very soon. So thank you.
Bye.
Bye.